CBS News World Headquarters in New York. This is the CBS Evening News with Katie Couric.
Good evening, everyone. President Obama said today Egypt is making progress on a transition to democracy, but the administration is easing the pressure on President Mubarak, saying forcing him to leave immediately could threaten that transition. In Cairo, the opposition demonstrating for the 14th straight day is still insisting he must go right now, and the Muslim Brotherhood threatened to walk away from reconciliation talks unless he does. It looked like Mubarak wasn't going anywhere today as he met with his new cabinet. His government, meanwhile, released a Google executive who'd been arrested after organizing the online opposition. And the U.S.-based group Human Rights Watch said nearly 300 Egyptians have been killed in 2 weeks of protests. Elizabeth Palmer in Cairo begins our coverage tonight.
A call to battle stations, and the Tahrir Square protesters rush for the barricades. It turns out it's a false alarm. There's no attack, but it does show how fiercely they'll defend this territory. State TV, meanwhile, showed pictures of Hosni Mubarak calmly meeting his cabinet, apparently oblivious to the worldwide sensation of Walid Ghonim, the young Google executive and online activist who disappeared 10 days ago from Tahrir Square. Upon his release from custody today, he said, "Please don't make a hero out of me. The real heroes are the ones who died in the streets." Back in the square, demonstrators were upping the ante. They blockaded a government building and stopped the employees from getting to work. The Mubarak regime clearly wishes they would just go away. But if anything, their camp is looking more and more permanent. People all over the world are talking about the demonstrators in Tahrir Square, but the question is who, if anyone, is talking for them?
Demands lead this protest. The Egyptians will not accept representatives at the current state.
Tonight, we tracked down one of the organizers of the very first protest marches. Ahmed Abbas said they never imagined this protest would explode into a movement truly popular and still with no formal leaders.
That's what's confusing the system the most. They want to find someone, and there's no. It's everybody.
Ayman Noor, a well-known opposition leader, joined the demonstrators last week and was hit in the head with a rock. Yeah. And now you have headaches?
No, I have different headaches.
Yeah.
Mubarak headaches.
In 2005, Noor challenged Hosni Mubarak in presidential elections and ended up in jail. He agrees the protesters have no leader, and there is only one way to end the standoff now. Mubarak has to go. There may be some signs of protest fatigue now, but the people in Tahrir Square seem willing to wait. So tonight, we've got a stalemate with apparently limitless quantities of stubbornness to go around on both sides. Katie?
And Liz, as you well know, this has been going on for some time. How long will these demonstrators stay?
They still sound pretty committed, and I can tell you that I went to ask them today how they were managing to wash and use the washroom down there in the square, and they told me that there was a dilapidated public washroom, and lots of volunteers came from the crowd who knew how to do plumbing. They fixed it up. It's working. They're now equipped for the long haul. All right. Liz Palmer in Cairo tonight. Liz, thank you. The world was shocked by the images coming out of Cairo, the bloody battles between pro- and anti-Mubarak protesters. But anyone who watched Egypt's state-run television last week saw an alternate version of reality without any violence. But as Mark Strassman reports, the government could control the message for only so long.
Remarkably today, Egyptian state television played it straight. It reported today's protests and the release of Walid Ghonim, a Google executive jailed as a Mubarak critic. That's a huge change since just last Tuesday, when this massive outrage rocked Cairo's downtown. And Egyptian state TV ignored it, instead showing this much smaller rally by his supporters. And when Al Jazeera and Western networks showed Bedlam, Egyptian state television's music suggested bliss. Chaos presented as quiet, an assault on the truth. So Shahira Amin revolted too. The state television anchorwoman quit.
I walked out yesterday. I can't be part of the propaganda machine. I'm not going to feed the public lies.
Egyptians have seen the cell phone videos. An unarmed man gunned down. Protesters mowed down. None of that on state TV.
You're saying they lie? Of course.
Hamid Abdullah is a 32-year-old filmmaker. In the heart of Tahrir Square, Abdullah organized this space for new media. Volunteers like Hamid Negla.
Now there is no control. I just make a capture of any video or picture. I just upload it.
Round the clock, siphoning power from a utility pole. Volunteers capture images for bloggers in safe houses and their global audience.
And some people, they have YouTube channels, some people, they have Facebook pages. So what was more important for me is to make sure that the cycle is going bigger and bigger.
And then over the weekend, Egyptian state television changed its approach and for the first time ever heard from voices of dissent, interviewing some of these protesters, as though to say, see, we are listening. But it's too late. Protesters have found each other on social media. Wael Ghoneim's Facebook pages became a viral headquarters for the movement. Today's release of Google's top executive here is an answered prayer to Iman, his mother.
I want to put a sign on my chest that reads, I'm the mother of a hero.
And to many protesters, he's one of the heroes of this revolution. And today, Al Ahram, an Egyptian newspaper, one of his most famous and state-owned, abandoned Mubarak. An editorial saluted the revolution and demanded sweeping constitutional reform. Katie?
Mark, I also understand that the crackdown on the international media has intensified. What can you tell us about that?
Another group, Katie, was rounded up. 6 foreign journalists, French, German, Australian, and 2 Egyptians with them. They were bound and blindfolded. They were interrogated for 4 hours. At least one of the Egyptians was badly beaten. This regime has apologized for those sorts of attacks. But no question, Katie, those sorts of attacks still go on.
Mark Strassman in Cairo tonight. Mark, thank you so much.